actually sold two different books. 그러면은 그냥 거짓말 하면 안 되잖아. 잠깐만 다른 책 한번 갖다가 오고. 정말이에요. 진짜 거짓말 안 해요. 이거 안 돼. 아씨 그만 답에 노출됐으니까. 아씨 넘기지 마세요 뒤로. 이렇게 하면 별로 없다. 여기 답 하나 있었는데 이거 거꾸로 놔줘. 이렇게 가지 말라고. 이런 식으로 가라. 그럼 답을 안 보지. 그렇게 하면 답이 보이고. 원래 마음 먹으면 답 바꿔도 안 떠. 야 그렇게 병신하지. 요거 내가 적어놨네. 이것만 해볼게요. The politician to be strategies to capitalize on an opponent by drawing her into a discussion over a very topic to luring into a boring audience. Backfire when she explained her idea with the law succinctly and powerfully. 일단 갔다 왔어. Some of the media they found what to be. 근데 이거 좀 어렵다. 일단 어워시는 뭐든 confused. found it. What means bored, tired. This is really right. I'll check the answer. I'm not going to lie, for sure. Number 12. 몇 번이야? Practice 4. Practice 4 and section 1. What section? Section 4. PCAFPE. PCAFE. 아하, B가 맞다. 아, 슛. 이런. 아깝다. Glossary art, the tire board, you're not gonna just read it. Okay. I admit my mistake. 없어서 답은 다 지워야지. 아까 전에 뭐 안 풀고 있었잖아. 이렇게 들어온다니. 이거 풀 수 있나? 그러시고. CPS newborn fletching one. 그건인데. Bravo, right? Tell the truth, it was a very easy writing. 너무나 쉬운 글이어서 사실은 별것 아니에요. 이건 너무 쉬워. 사실은 제 초등학생 키드 게임인데. 근데 이거는 좀 잘했지. 왜냐면 이거 뭐 쉽긴 한데 이런 게 조금 까다롭잖아요. Most likely agree. author 이 중에서 어떤 거 가장 동의할까? 요거는 조금 찜찜한 부분이 있잖아. We all know that this is a little bit uncomfortable because you know what? This is all about implications. You have to actually, know the tonality. Think about it. This is really sentiment. It's not really that difficult to tell the truth. Her accomplishment would have been significant in any historical time, no matter who had it on them. That means, you know what? The fact that she was a woman only made it much more special. But tell the truth, you know what? If this had been done by any man, this would have never eclipsed the greatness of her achievement. You know what? The gender factor would have never dwarfed the quality of her work. That means she would have most likely to opt for this choice. Brooke White's gender has a little bit, almost no importance, almost a teeny weeny bitty importance on the importance of her accomplishment bearing. Sure, for sure. 나는 그렇게 조각 단어는 좀 잘 못해요. 왜냐면 그게 더 어려워요. 왜냐면은 글이 없어. 난 사실 bearing을 그렇게 잘 몰랐어요. 근데 여기는 보면 알아요. 여기서는 분명히 importance라는 뜻이에요. 아니면 significant. 근데 글을 보면 알잖아, 그치? 왜냐면은 여기도 네이스는 NCP는 이건 너무 쉬운 거고. 그냥 그게 더 어려워요. 왜냐면 왜 어렵냐면 용법 너무 많아요. 그럼 어떤 거 보라고? 몇 번 볼지 잘 모르겠어요. 그래서 단어 게임이 그냥 글보다 더 어려운 것 같아. 몇 번 볼지 1번, 2번, 3번 있으면 you know what, if you actually wanted to be a successful lexicographer, you know the stance really well, right? Well, which usage are you referring to? That's really difficult. I actually wanted to delve into this third definition. But the actual question is about the second definition. Then we are not seeing eye to eye. We're not on the same page. That's more difficult to me. 이거는 알 것 같아. 이거는 좀 쉬운 거죠. 맞지? 다시 쉬웠어요. 그냥 아무렇게나 하는 거예요. 그래서 벌벌 좀 치러 갈 거예요. 왜냐면 프레드리 내가 글 못 읽는다 해가지고 그건 아니에요. 그냥 빨리 읽어요. 그냥 보충 읽어요. 다른 것도 해볼까? 진짜 사실 벌벌 할 생각이 없었어요. 근데 옛날에 비해서 벌벌 좀 쉬워졌어요. Freudian, can you do this? Yeah. Very great person. Artist's identity is reduced into the art of one's. An artist's identity is reduced into one's art. The information passion for which of the following reason? Done. 정답 확인할게요. 어때, 프레드릭? 나도 근데 되게 쉬워요. 사실은 너무나 쉽고 절대 GRE에 안 나올 것 같아요. 답이 이렇게 깔끔하게 떨어지는 건 절대로 안 나옵니다. 너무 쉬워. 지금 이건 무슨 내용이냐면 this is really about the artist whose name is Freud. I really thought that it was a Freudian psychology, but it has nothing to do with that. He believes that any artist who wants to identify himself or herself as a genuine, authentic professional in the league, then one knows how to find one's own identity in the realm of artistic creatures. That means no self-promotion or commercial or advertisement can justify the fame or philosophy of a certain artist. But it's really about it is really about the product crafted or manufactured by artists. They can actually give a certain meaning to the stance and the prominence of artists. If any artist is a guru or a master in the league who wants to gain attention, who wants to grab attention of the public, then one knows how to craft flawless, sublimated the final product as a masterpiece. Only through that prism one can interpret the significance of an artist. That's really what it is about. If there is any type of, now, if you ever actually read this, in the 20th century, such an advertisement and commercial has been the convention in the league that has been so prevalent. So if you do not actually sell your idea actively, you would be considered as a weirdo or secluded hermit, not keeping up with what's popular in the league, and that type of a prevailing notion would be so palpable. But he actually had a tendency to seek privacy. He would have never really wanted to be in the limelight. That's a part of his character. However, that's not the sole factor why he would like to stick to this philosophy of a seclusion. Because he believes that the sole attention should be funneling into the final products put down by the artist. And that's really the only medium that could bring importance to the status of artists. If that artist wants to leave any portrait of one's own character, that should only be construed through the perfection and the completion of artistic products. Nothing should get in the way. The rest of stuff should be considered as a distraction. Those I chose a porter who refers to creation when asked a personal question. So when this porter, and potter means somebody who bakes porcelain and pottery, right? If you ever watch the movie Ghost, you would know this, right? You know this is job. To be more, would it be rolling this potter's wheel, right? With the Patrick Swayze. Potter, when this potter is being questioned about her personal life, based upon this policy, one should duck all the irrelevant questions related to her privacy or her private sector. This would be only a distraction and sidekick. No one should pull off a dog and pony show by shedding a light on something irrelevant to the fundamental. What is the fundamental? The artistic creatures, the final remnants, inspired by artistic inspirations. So, one would evade the question by channeling all her energy into the sophisticated final products. That's what it should be done. If one would obey the belief of a Freud, right? And if you ever actually watch this, in the 20th century, the lines between art and consumer culture became blurred. That means there is a dwindling differentiation between art and consumer culture. Somehow, appreciating art has become a commercial activity. One will pursue artistic virtue by putting out more money into the market, like purchasing art products that would also be, in a broader context, seen as appreciation of art pieces, right? That type of conmingling between consumer culture, consumerism, and art. The line between has been somehow obfuscated, no longer so significantly distinct, because there has been a certain immersion, right? I would rather say that this is really the makeout between these two different sectors, right? Right. And if you ever actually read something out of this, then you would have noticed why I had chosen a desire to maintain his privacy as a choice, right? Why I had chosen the option A. Why is this so? Freud's tendency to deflect attention is not, as some commentators have stated, wholly a byproduct of his desire to prevent encroachment into his personal life. Rather, it is predominantly a function of his deep-seated belief that if one's art is given a place of prominence, the careful critic will be able to discern the thought processes and motivations of the artist. That means, his inclination to evade attention or run away from limelight is not really entirely caused by his desire to keep a low profile. He never really likes any intrusive or obtrusive attention coming from the media. That kind of attention wouldn't be so unnecessary. He wanted to keep his profile low. He wanted to maintain a low-key life. But that's not really the sole reason why. Rather, it is more likely to be affected by the role of his deep-trenched, die-in-the-wool belief. This has more to do with his die-in-the-wool or bred-in-the-bone belief that if one's art is endowed with a place of prominence or a status of recognition or distinction, then the very meticulous critique, here it can actually be interchangeably used as a critique. Who's appreciator of the art, the very meticulous, fastidious critique, fussy critique, prudent critique, would it be capable of making that distinction between the thought processes and inspirations and desires and motives of the artist? It should be the belief that art held more significance than artists who created. It means, the identity of an artist is a secondary and auxiliary issue. That's really the sidekick. That's a dog and pony show. It means that should never surpass the significance that was supposed to be assigned to the final products put out by the artist, the creators, the creatures should gain more attraction. Alright, that's what it is. And I can read it. I'm very happy to take the test, for sure. And everything was improvised. I had zero interest in solving these questions, but I wasn't really offended by your suggestion that I would be so foolish, that I would never learn how to cope with something that I have never seen before. Excuse me, I was just actually freaking mad at this type of implications, so I was being reckless. Well, that's not really the case. In the first place, this. I wanted to only solve this sentence-related question, sentence completions.
So I had the last thing that I had on my mind was solving these questions. These are really simple questions. I understand that these are likely to be the low level, or a level. If there is level starting from 1 to 5, this would like a level 3, or even level 2. Very easy, cheesy peasy pie questions, right? It's really a piece of cake. There's nothing more than that, for sure. I do know that. But I still can read these simple questions because some people had such a low expectations for my reading comprehension. They believed that I would have never performed this too.